when she says anything. She just sits there with a smile on her
Happy
face.
Wednesday.
She looks back at me like, do you know we're on?
Ooh.
Hello, Dana. Karen, how's everyone doing? Wednesday night. Whoop-de-doo. How's everyone doing? Edward Anderson, my friend, how are you? We'll see you a couple of weeks.
Hey, John.
Psychic Fair.
Laura, Susan,
Right? Psychic
Veronica.
Fair. That's coming up too. Psychic Fair. We don't even talk about that. We really should.
Hi, Kathy.
But we don't. We do a fundraiser for the Paranormal Center that pretty much every year, the Woodbridge Psychic Fair. It's in Woodbridge. I'll put the poster up. I've advertised it a few times on our page, but that's coming up the 21st, which is like crazy, like fast approaching. But it's Psychic Fair. It's a bunch of readers, couple of vendors, couple of lectures. We've done it. This is probably our 5th time doing it.
Yeah.
So again, and all the proceeds, it's $5 admission. All the proceeds go to the Barnard Center, and Jane will be there. Judy K will be there. Lots of other great readers. Edward will be there. So you want to come, usually nice fall day, get a reading, hang out with us. We'll be there from, I think, 11 to 5.
Yeah, 11 to 5.
So, come to the Psychic Fair in Woodbridge. I'll post it so you have the address. I don't know how to say the name of the place. Acadia, something like that, in Woodbridge. Nice building. They're in a big room that has a stage in the front and chandelier lighting. So we turn down the lights a little bit. It's a good atmosphere. Pretty cool. See
if I got it right.
But that's coming up September 21st. I don't really even mention that. And I got to thank you guys because I literally posted an ad for Centenary University that it was our last event of the year for 2024 in New Jersey. And boom, last 14 tickets went bye-bye in a matter of a day or two. So appreciate that. So thank you. Yeah. So, but there is another event in New Jersey that's before. So I didn't lie. That is the last event for 2024 in New Jersey, November 30th. So I didn't lie about that being the last one. But there is one before that. That we literally had a conversation about yesterday and confirmed. I can't sell tickets yet because they want their board members, the people who support
Christina.
I don't know what you call the people that come to the building, the visitors that are on the email list, the members. They want them to get first dibs at the tickets for like a day or two, and then I'll be able to release them. So I can tell you it is in South Jersey in a town called Moorestown, not Lestown, which is the other side. Moorestown, Moores town, Moorestown. Next door to S'morestown, which is some, I'm trying to think, how many jokes can I make about Moorestown? So a lot of people confuse Moorestown with Morristown. It's not. Moorestown's north, Moorestown south. So yes, we will be in South Jersey on October 12th. Believe it or not, we are venturing down there. We're going to be in like the Pope Mobile class.
Oh my
around
Lord.
Us.
Well, maybe you need to.
And the name of the building is Smith Cadbury Mansion. Smith, like the Cadbury eggs.
And it has some pretty darn interesting history.
Those people, there are, from what we've heard, at least anywhere from 5 to 7 people confirmed that have died in the building. Hessian soldiers were definitely in the building. They came through along with Continental Army soldiers. Supposedly there was a blood stain in the attic from a Hessian soldier who may have died there or was wounded. We did investigate it, and we did capture some stuff. in different parts that we were told about. And now they're ready to go ahead and move forward and do the actual event. So that's going to be, like I said, October 12th, no longer a mystery location. It is now Smith Cadbury in Moorestown, which, by the way, that main road there, is that Main Street? I don't even know what that main road is. It Main Street?
Main Street.
They got a couple of good pizzerias over there. I didn't think South Jersey had good pizza, but there's that one place.
The whole district right there is a historic area.
But the pizza's pretty good.
When you go through there, there's a lot of businesses there that are in historic buildings that they saved, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, some of the buildings are very, very impressive.
Well, what was that? Main Drag used to be the King's Highway or something like that. Yep. It was like a main hub for stagecoach, and lots of people came through there.
But the thing that John and I were like really, really
you're doing Floki.
Yeah, I know Floki right there. But the whole thing that was interesting is when you think back to when Paul Revere rode through the towns to do the warnings, here they had the bells, the big old bells, and the bell is still out. It's at the back side of this house, the original that they rang to warn when the Haitians and the British were coming through. And of course, houses are all built up around now, but back in the day they weren't. They were really far apart, and they'd ring those bells going down through.
Because they basically come through, take your livestock, and loot your place. They'd steal whatever they wanted to. So they would at least say, hey, they're here. We didn't get any warning. We're going to warn the next person because they're probably going to head that way after.
And there were three families. They had the Smiths, the Harrises, and the Cadbury families that lived in this house.
There's another one in there somewhere.
And there might have been. And then, but one of those families was detrimental in bringing over the French horse that actually was bred and created this big historical and sought after horses that they have. And they have a big monument to it in the town. And I'm fascinated by that because it was a big thing back then. That whole area was horse farming and stuff that one family brought over. So it was, to me, that's pretty cool.
To me, it's pretty cool that there's spirits in the building.
I know,
because
for you.
That's what I do.
I know. Wow. I like the historical side of it.
We had heard the stories, and we, again, like we always do, we came in there and we investigated it, and we did experience some stuff, and that alone makes it worth us bringing people in and saying that now let's see what happens when we bring a group of people in here and we see what happens. So the building is bigger than it kind of appears from the street. The basement's pretty big. The first floor is a decent size, set of several rooms. Second floor is kind of broken up, but they're
because it's like the time period. You've got the original structure and then what's built over through the 1800s.
And then the attic is smaller, but that's where, when we were up there, the mere mention of the Hessians being there and perhaps somebody lying wounded or dead triggered everything in the attic. And it was pretty cool. So, I mean, basically interaction on most pieces of equipment. So, again, we decided, let's go ahead and do this, and they're anxious to get the word out. So I need to create an advertisement. It'll just be a poster for them to use to show to their members and their board members. We'll see what's left after that, and then we'll release it here with you guys. First time joining us, and we'll be in the building together, and we'll see what we see. We get, not really, I wouldn't call them complaints, but there are a lot of times where people are kind of bummed out that are on the boards of these buildings or members or people that are associated or affiliated with the building, and they find out that the events are all sold out and they would like to attend them. And, we get that a lot. That happens at the Van Horn, that happens at the Innskeep, that happens at a lot of different places where I'm still getting emails for the Innskeep and other places, and I have to tell these people, they'll say, hey, I know this one, or hey, I'm a member of the board and can't do it. Sorry.
Hey,
it just, once it goes, and then, so in this case, we have to give them the opportunity. Just, even if it's two of them, or, I mean, Camp Evans is the same thing. We hear, the events sell out so fast, which is great for us. But I mean, again, I get emails all the time about the September and October events.
Yeah.
And they're done. They're all done. They're all sold out, with the exception of this one that we're doing on October 12th. And then that's it. We're kind of going back and forth about the Sterling Hill Mine Ghost Walk, because a lot of people enjoyed that, and I'm getting phone calls about it. And
emails.
I'll tell you, we're still we haven't even clipped the.
Yeah, he's
We
still
haven't
holding
even
those
flipped that
spots
coin.
for those who sent the emails already in, Christine.
Yeah, the people who sent the emails initially, just when it was a mystery spot,
Absolutely.
they're going to get first dibs, because I got the emails. So I'll reach out to them first, and then whoever else is. But that building, again, it, being in the paranormal field is, you can't avoid death, because it is what it is. I mean, these are people who were here before us. People have passed.
That's what great spirits.
And when thank you. Could you repeat that, because I don't know if they.
Talking about death.
When
that's
people
what
die,
spirits.
What is it? Creates spirits. Got it.
The afterlife.
What's up, Bob?
Paranormal.
We were talking about you before, Bob. You were supposed to be ringing. We were talking to Steve, but anyway, unfortunately, when you do what you do, when you go into these places that are unfamiliar to you, you have to ask about the history of the building, and then you have to find out, did anybody actually pass here? Are there documented deaths in this home?
And are there claims?
Yeah, well, of course. That's because dead people make spirits.
They want to talk.
Anyway, so first we found out about a few, and then they found out about a few more, and a couple of them were children, and then you find out the Harris family kind of lost the most to was yellow fever.
Yellow or scarlet fever.
Yeah, and there were at least 4 or 5, and you start mentioning names, start going around, you start getting reactions.
The son was the only survivor out of that. Out of all of them.
I didn't even read that. Sorry. Chris interrupted. I thought, not for a place just his brother, whether the board wants to do a double event like the board members get to investigate the first 2.5 hour term. No, we wouldn't do that.
You want us to work our butts off.
No, we wouldn't do that, because it doesn't make sense. Yeah, again, you're asking us to do 5, 6, 7 hour events then, and we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. We don't want to do that again.
And it was brutal.
We worked at a place, and I call it work because it was work. And I won't mention any locations, but there were 2 of them where they literally had us doing, let's say, 18 people at a time for a group for 45 minutes through the whole building. And we would literally rotate them, shift them, and as that 18 people were leaving through the back door, 18 more people were coming in the front door. And we did that for about 7 different
and no breaks
sessions.
Just literally
with no breaks.
And come back down and do the next day group and come back down. I think there were
one event
3
alone
sessions.
In I can't say where it was from, but the total number of people that came in was 112.
Yeah.
112 in a building that can only hold about 15 people.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
That was in the crazy days where we were younger and we were willing to.
And then they asked, "Can you do more?"
Yeah, those sort of things. So now it's like we do what we do. Like Saturday, John Zaffis will be there, 6 to 11. John will do his lecture and his meet and greet. And John's a great speaker. John's a guy who could he doesn't have any set lecture. So he's just bring up a subject. He'll say, "You want to ask me anything? Ask me." And then I'll go on and do his lecture. So, John's that type of guy. So I enjoy watching John speak, but then we do the event and John joins in and John enjoys doing it. And this ends earlier. So sure John will appreciate that, but he will have some of his objects with him. So we're doing that again. First time we did out at Camp Evans, we had a great time. Great time. So, no, John, this John will never, ever. I see groups doing events from 7 to 3 a.m. and I go, good for them. Good for them.
It's so late.
Because at 3 a.m., I am either in the shower or I'm already watching TV and going to sleep by the time an event's over. You know, John would never do 7 hours. John would, you kidding me? But I love doing events with John because I have such a good time joking around with him. Yeah. He's the Google of the paranormal. You know, he is. He's just somebody asked me if I recognize the name in the paranormal of a much older gentleman who was supposedly very well known. I had never heard of him, so I went to John. I'm like, John, do you know this guy? And he's, no, never heard of him. So, and John's been doing this since he was 12, and he met everyone through Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah, he's got his finger on the pulse of everything.
So,
he knows.
I mean, but anyway, I love doing events with John, and I'll do them with John as long as he wants to do them with us. And you add the haunted objects to it, which a lot of people are doing now out there. I noticed that. I see you. I see you. I know you guys are doing your own version, and to each his own. But when are we doing the 3 a.m. event? Nikki, I'll tell you what. We'll do the 11 p.m. event, and then you can keep going until 3 a.m.
But he did. Let's all say this in fairness, and Nikki's aware of this too. You did say next year about doing a sleepover in the mine. That's a fact. You said it live here.
I'm just seeing how long that finger is gonna stay in that position.
Just saying.
I don't have to be there for that. You can do that. You can be.
I was not staying in the mine overnight, and I've said that from the get-go. The giddy-up go.
I believe it was your idea.
I don't think it. I do not think
I think it was Nikki's idea. I think Nikki's a troublemaker.
I think you brought it up, and everybody goes, "Yes, when?"
I think there's really moonshine in that bottle that Nikki carries around. I don't think that's holy water at all. That's what I think.
No, I think that would be a fun event to do that. Let's do it, Chris. I'll help you. Listen, this girl is not staying overnight in the mine.
No, for that one night.
You guys all
for that one night,
John will do it. But I will start off, but I'm not staying in that
No,
mine.
for the one night I would do it, but it can't be a lot of people.
No, it's gonna be.
I want it to be very exclusive. Yeah. Because I want it to be the total experience of just a limited number of people.
And not being moved out of it, like you're really immersed in the mine. And let me tell you something. I've been in that mine by myself, and no, I'm good. I am so good with not being in that mine. You haven't spent as much time.
That's another good one too, Veronica. Yeah, I think I would sleep in the mine before I would sleep in that bottom bedroom of the office by myself. That's true. I think I would.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would, as long as the Bears. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in a moment, John. Bears and bats. I don't like either one. And raccoons too. But no, if and when we do the mine overnight, it will be a small exclusive group. I'm talking like the max 12 people.
Yeah.
That's the kind of number that I'm sitting on because I want people to be able to, if we're tired and we want to go outside for whatever, they'll have the bathrooms open, of course. If we want to just go out there and get a breath of fresh air, get something to drink, some caffeine or something, and who's ever left in the mine wants to keep going. But I also want to be able, I want to be able to put my cot down, my sleeping bag on top of it, and just curious about what kind of noises you're going to hear.
Oh, I'm good.
And believe me, I would definitely pull some pranks on.
I'm not staying in there. What part? I am so serious about this. I will start off in there with you guys, but I'm not staying in there with you guys. I would never lay my head on a cot.
No, I think like Alex said, I think most of the night.
And you said about going to breakfast after that, which would be cool.
You again, I didn't say that at all. You said that.
No,
that's your
sir.
part.
No, you said, and maybe after like 3 o'clock in the morning, we all can just go out for breakfast. You said that, sir.
I never said that.
You said
I said
that,
I could see us like cooking out before, like a barbecue.
Remember the things he said.
I didn't say that.
But
I know
you did.
You totally said that.
No,
and
I
you
did.
know it. Worst liar. You are the worst liar that there ever was.
You just don't have a good memory.
I said about a cookout beforehand, possibly, because it's spring.
You mentioned.
Don't remember breakfast day. Thank you, Alex.
Alex.
Liar. Right there.
Guy.
The cost would need to be dispersed throughout the mine.
I mean,
that would be up to whoever. If I have no qualms about two people wanting to take their cots and go to the other end. That's the whole idea of it. If you want to be with other people, for safety in numbers, then sure, by all means. But if you want to go take your cot and go sleep by the dynamite room by yourself, that's where I would go. I ain't kidding either. Unless it was raining and water was leaking in, which, God willing, that doesn't happen. I would dare anybody to sleep by that dynamite room and see what happens. Double dog dare you.
No, I'm good.
Because I have never heard a bang like I heard that in that mine that sent.
There's no shame in it.
Somebody go running under that.
You are darn straight tooting.
It was just one fluid underneath the chain motion.
Nikki will do it.
I think that's where we're going to be.
Wonderful.
I think that's where we're going to be.
That you're all going to stay there?
Yeah, we'll be right around
I'm
that
telling
area.
you, if you guys go over and other further down over by that rainbow room and over there too. Veronica knows. Veronica was there when stuff was happening.
And I do think that we're going to spend time investigating, a lot of time, and I also think there'll be time where we're just hanging out, kind of talking, shooting, what.
And things can happen when you're just doing that.
You never know. But I don't think they're going to be used to people being in there the whole entire night trying to.
Do you think that maybe during their time they did shifts where it was always working? Like everybody just didn't come out and end for the day?
Taylor, please tell someone to not even submit the application. Wink, wink. Taylor, we're talking about ABQ.
ABQ.
ABQ is off limits to ABQ. I cannot take a whole night of that. They will find me hanging myself in the mine for sure. Hello, Brooke. How are you? So again, this other event, October 12th, is definitely the last one. That's it. We this was one of those places that I went back and forth with, went and toured the place. The guy that we speak to, that we work with there, is very much into the paranormal, and he's the one who kept telling us there's some stuff here, and he keeps digging up more history about it, and he wants us to do it. And I have the entire video of the investigation, and it's one of those things where, I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm going to cut it and clip it and show parts of it. Kind of, hopefully, I don't know, if I can get around to it the next day or two, I'll do that just to show you some little best of reels. But enough there to definitely give it a look. It sort of reminds me, in a weird way, of the Innskeep. How the Innskeep really surprised me. I'm not going to lie.
I love the Innskeep.
When we went to Marlton and we saw that little house in the middle of all those mansions, we were like, there's stuff going on here? Really? Seriously? And that place surprised the heck out of me.
And it really still keeps surprising us with the stuff that pops up and happens. It really
surprises me.
Hey, Carla.
I think this might be one of those places where, you can't expect everything all the time. But
no, but it's going to take you by surprise.
I think a few places So a few rooms will
Yeah.
surprise you.
I do.
Can't wait for the 28th. Is that NJP? Yeah. Look what I'm asking. I'm sorry.
I don't keep things in my head like you do.
I apologize.
Mine is on a chart, on a list, and that's where it stays.
I apologize. Basement is crazy there. And I love being in the crazy places.
It's because you're crazy.
That's why I said, when we did, and I would do it again tomorrow because I had so much fun doing it. The adrenaline rush of going into the mine when I think Tanya and I did it by ourselves.
Yeah, because I wouldn't do it.
We know that. The adrenaline rush of knowing when you're in the middle of that mine, you're in the middle. It's a decent walk to get out of there. And if stuff starts happening in the dark, even a run is going to take you a little while. And I purposely went down by that dynamite room, and I made sure there were no lights on. I had just my flashlight, and I went under that chain and I sat in that room. And I ain't gonna lie to anybody. Your breathing gets a little heavier.
Yeah.
You're listening. Your eyes are adjusting to the dark, and you're waiting for the thing that's gonna make you take off and run. That's really what you're waiting for.
Well, I don't have to wait too long when I'm in there by myself.
But I mean, you're really waiting for that because it has the potential. Any building, I like investigating by myself. I haven't done it in a long time. I did it at the Creeper Gallery. And again, look at what happened to me there.
The basement.
With the footsteps. Again, adrenaline rushing. I watched that video and I love it because I know nobody was in the building.
So what? You let a serial killer chase you for the adrenaline?
No,
I'm just saying, like the adrenaline rush of the unknown, of being scared.
Yeah.
You like that.
I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of these people do. Why else would you be doing it?
Well, some people because they just want answers.
It's like a roller coaster.
Other people because woo-woo.
You go on a roller coaster, you go, you climb the big thing, and then you're ready for
I don't like that crap either. No, sir. I like my feet on solid ground. I like things that are tangible. I like things that I can strike back at, that I have a chance. But the stuff that you can't stop because you can't see it and you don't know what it's going to take to stop it, no thank you. That's terrifying for me. How could that not be terrifying?
No,
why is it exciting?
We need to do it. Here's a new idea for me that I just came up with. And I probably shouldn't say this because everybody and their mother's going to steal it and do it before I do. But what I would really like to do as far as a live stream, which again, this includes involving you guys, is I would really like to, whether it's the mine or somewhere else, I would like to do those alone sessions and involve some of them in it. We'll pick 2 or 3 people.
They're alone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys think that it's yeah. Yeah.
I mean, with the mine, here's the bad thing about the mine. The mine, no one will know what's happening to you in there because there's no Wi-Fi.
There's no Wi-Fi. You can't call out.
You can't call out, and nobody's watching you. You can't do it live.
Nope.
You're going to film yourself. So no one's going to know what's happening until your time's up.
And you can scream till the cows come home. Ain't nobody going to hear you.
But no one's going to come looking for you till your time's up.
Carlos loves it.
So that's it when it comes to the mine. But we could pick other buildings where we can, like Camp Evans, where we can keep an eye on you on the live stream.
So here's the thing, that when we went in there to the mine and
we should definitely do that.
They decided they wanted to do that. I said absolutely not, no way, And they even said, well, we'll just do it for 15 minutes. Nope, we'll do it for 5 minutes. Nope, because even if it's a minute and something's going on and it's terrifying, no. That seems like an eternity.
I'm thinking Halloween Eve special.
Oh.
That's before the expo, though. I don't know if we get away. We're gonna be gearing up for the expo. Maybe Halloween week. Maybe not the eve of Halloween.
Well, if you did it closer to home. If you see what I'm
and
thinking.
where is closer to home? The Baron?
Yeah. that basement, when you're alone, it changes. When a person's down there by themselves and those lights are off, it's a whole.
Terry, how are you?
around.
God, it
Hey,
has
we
been a
haven't seen you in a
while.
while.
God, where you been? Terry said some really nice things about us, about the expo anyway.
Thank you.
About how she felt really comfortable being there around people, being able to tell the story about.
Good. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Her family had went through, so that was really.
That matters to us because that's the what it's supposed to be.
So if we were to do this, this would be a first for us because we haven't done this before with anyone ever. It's always been just us in there. But if we did this again, it wouldn't be but 2-3 people at the most. And we would. The mine is tough because again, the liability factor. If something happened to you in there, you'd get in trouble, and so would the mine. If God forbid we put someone in there and your flashlight went out and you tried to make your way through and we didn't know because we can't watch you live, and there's too much of a liability issue with the mine. So
unless they signed a
even
form.
I don't know if all that's protecting.
I mean, I wouldn't do it.
But I'm thinking Camp Evans or.
Looks like, yeah, I'll sign a release.
Jay, what's up, Jay? I think that would be really cool.
Hey, Heather.
I think, again, to see I would like to do it for my own enjoyment because if something happened and someone started freaking out and getting scared and like coming out of there, I like watching that.
And I could say, welcome to my world.
Personally, I mean, I do get enjoyment.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do.
Because again, it's hard to describe to people what that's like. When you're alone, investigating with a group is different because there's comfort in that. There's the group.
Even if you're separated a little bit, that you know that people are there.
People are still close by.
People are still there.
Yeah. When we do our alone things, we've done it in the past, and it's been a long time since we've done it. We'll literally, one of us goes in and the other stay out. But we watch, depending on the building. Like when we did that at that one place that we no longer work with, which I will not name anymore because I think we didn't leave on great terms with them. So I won't mention the location. But we did alone sessions there, and it was pretty darn crazy.
It was.
It was pretty crazy. I got one of the craziest EVPs I ever got. Like walking in the middle of the woods in the dark.
And bringing home some stupid, crazy mask that you should have never picked up. Yeah.
I mean, Alex, if you're doing that, then you'll have no problem being in the building. But for others, it's. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You know, when everybody leaves after an event, and the first thing I do is, because I need to find all my stuff, of course, but I turn the lights all on. Because I'm literally thinking in my head to whoever I was talking with for 4 hours. All right, we're done here. Okay, so if I did anything to make you angry, or if anybody else here did anything,
hey, Donna,
just don't take it out on me now while I'm by myself. All right, so let me get my stuff and let me go. You know, because there have been times where I've heard things.
Oh, you mean at that time that they took you out in the woods and drove away?
Well, that was. Well, you're talking about something completely different.
I'm just saying that was done to you, and you actually heard something.
I heard what was probably some piney hillbilly South Jersey person living in some shack crackhead approaching me. Yeah, and I got nervous and I wanted out of there. So yes, that's why I was scared, because I don't like going near those woods of South Jersey because people come out of there. And it ain't because of anything paranormal. It's because...
Was that in South Jersey?
I don't know where it was, but I know it wasn't around here. We drove for a little ways. But yes, I don't like the woods.
Woods don't bother me. It might have been Alex.
I always say hello, goodbye to spirits.
I've run a few of your band shows, Heather. We were in a movie theater watching a movie, and they brought up something about hillbillies. And John and his son lean over and literally in the middle of the movie lean over and look at me like I'm the representative. I'm just like, what the hell?
But no, we tell people, even that bed and breakfast that contacted us when they said that they know that there's a female spirit there, but it's nothing that they're afraid of or concerned about. Same thing. They're just some are just looking for attention. They want acknowledgement. Say good morning. Say good night.
Hey Sally, that's something I would enjoy doing because that I don't mind those.
Who wants that?
I do.
God, why would you want something again?
I've had enough adrenaline rushes.
I would again for me.
If I had money,
for me
even a
personally,
dime for every time I had an adrenaline rush from the
I'm going to give you two
stuff,
scenarios.
I'd be wealthy.
And I know which one you'll pick because you're boring and safe when it comes to this stuff. But I give you two scenarios. You're in a building where, like we're talking about, that bed and breakfast, and let's say hypothetically that female spirit is capable of multiple EVPs, interacting with equipment, whatever you. Not showing herself or shadow figures or anything like that, but you're in that type of environment and you can be there for a while, just you and that spirit, or you could be in an environment where things move by themselves. You hear like creepy voices on the recorder, you see shadow figures, and you know that's going to happen in that building, and you'll get EVPs as well from whoever that person is. You would pick the
if the one with the stuff moving and not being thrown at you and like that.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying it. Something could happen at any time.
Things could fall off the shelves. But here's the thing: I don't mind. This is the catch-all for me. I don't like things that are aggressive, like. Not nice.
But they may not be meaning to be aggressive. It's just the way they're trying to get attention.
And there are some things about that I don't mind. But when you get, for me, there's a feeling. There's a feeling that comes along with it. And when I get that feeling, then I'm done. I'm checked out. I trust my instincts.
Nikki's planning our whole next year for us. She's got a sleepover. And again, that's a whole nother issue. Again, these buildings... They come and they lock them up after we leave, so they're not gonna come in the morning and it'd be like a horror movie where there's one person left.
And it'll be me because I was staying out in the car.
And if things disappear with people being there, it's just that's the whole reason. We enjoy being with people. We love investigating people. I do in particular, but there is a liability factor. You're in these buildings where some things are irreplaceable, and believe me, we know for a fact that groups have gone into places and broken things that cannot be replaced and done damage. NJP lockdown. We did a lockdown, a real Ghost Adventure lockdown. Nikki, Chris wasn't part of this. This is in the early days before we were NJP. Because, again, we had heard about it that everybody was doing this and people had done that. So we literally told the people of this building, and I won't say what the building was because it was a historical building. We told them, let us in at 8 and then come back again at 6 in the morning or whatever it was, and lock the door behind me. So, there was an outside door lock, so front door and back door. Now, could we have opened up a window and triggered an alarm if something had happened? I guess. But we did the lockdown. And first time ever, I tried an energy drink. One of those 5-hour horrible tasting medicine sugar drinks, because I'm like, if we're going to be investigating all night, I'm not a coffee drinker. I need something that's going to keep me. So I didn't know how long those things take to kick in. I never tried one. And this was the little ones, the little plastic bottles.
Those little ones got some kick.
Oh my goodness. I downed this thing. And it's probably, because I was starting to get tired, it was probably like midnight. And you think I talk a lot now? I was literally
like
exactly,
crack.
Alex. I was like one of those auctioneers. It was just like I was so full of energy that I wanted to go everywhere and do everything. I was asking questions. I was like, let's go over here. Let's try back down now. Let's go back upstairs again because I heard back upstairs. And then it wore off after about 2 hours. And now it's like 3 in the morning and I'm like leaning against the wall like. And we didn't even have, it's not like the night was full of activity because it was come and go, hit and miss.
Well, you were the entertainment of the night.
But yeah, it wasn't really a super active building. But
well, that's cool.
It was an experience because we did it. And when they opened that door in the morning, they were like, well, and we were like, well, you know, stuff happened here and there, but it was no different.
And it all had to do with John.
But I'll be as honest with you as I can. No more happened in 8 hours or whatever it was that happened in 3 hours or 2 hours. Really, there was nothing more. Like I said, and that's the case for a lot of buildings. It's like, in our experience, it's like whatever's going to happen is going to happen, especially when we've been to these places over and over and over. You'll get surprised every once in a while, sure.
We do.
But you can get as much in 3-4 hours as you can in 8 or 9. I've seen it.
I find.
Yeah, let me know, Nikki. I'd be curious.
I find that after a handful of hours, they seem to be. They tend to check out, like their energy level drops, or they just go away.
See, I don't know. Yeah,
it does.
You've seen the night wind down but it could be our energy feeding their energy,
maybe,
or the lack thereof.
Maybe.
So, you know what I mean?
So if that would be the case, going those longer period of times, because I do know everybody thinks there's the 3 a.m. morning witching hour that for some reason everything opens up and everything goes all crazy. And I will tell you, from growing up with paranormal stuff happening all the time, there was no such thing as the clock struck 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock and boom, that's when it all started. It happened whenever it happened. And there was no certain time. You could never set your watch to it. It literally would happen day, night, afternoon, morning. It would just happen.
Now I don't know if we ever talked about this, but we filmed a sizzle reel 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
With Jane Doherty. Jane was involved in it, and it literally was the premise of the show. And if you want to steal it. I don't, I think people have tried to do it before. The premise of the show was that people were being quote unquote haunted by loved ones or family members. That's who they think was haunting their home. So we thought it was a really cool premise, because the way we worked out the show was Jean would do a walkthrough first, and Jean's a very good medium, and she would give her impressions. We weren't involved in that. And she would pick out things in the home that she thought related to the loved one who was quote unquote haunting the home. And we would then use those objects as trigger objects, to actual document proof of somebody being there. And believe it or not, we did. We captured the voice of this person who passed in the house, his literal voice, and him mocking me, saying something. I said something, and he repeated it in his voice to make fun of me. And we captured there were some issues with the sizzle reel that I can't get into. It was people that we were working with wanted to be a little too involved in it. That's all I'll say about that. But the premise was good. But the one thing I want to mention was Jane was drawn to a clock in the basement. Mm-hmm. And the basement was a finished basement. And the gentleman who had passed, he had his whole finished basement where him and his buddies would hang out and watch football, baseball, whatever. He was a big Yankee fan. And then he had his little side tool room that had all Yankee memorabilia over there too. Jane didn't know anything about that belonged to the person who passed. She just went in the house, just walking through it. She was drawn to that basement, and she went over to a clock, and it was one of those gold outside clocks, pretty nice or whatever. And she said something about this clock. There's something about this clock. I don't know what it is. And again, this is
where... It wasn't a working clock either, was it?
Can I please just tell the whole story for once without you interjecting a key part of the story for once?
I talk a lot.
I ain't talking a lot. I'm literally in building the story, and you're throwing away close to the ending.
Okay, go ahead.
You do that all the time. Don't ever let her see a movie before you. If you want to see something, please don't tell her you want to see it if she's seen it. Please. Anyway, Jade is drawn to this clock. So we used the clock during the investigation, and the people we didn't know what the relationship to the clock was or anything with whoever. And the people were there that were being affected by who was ever haunting the house. It was the father of the wife who lived there. Her father had passed. And so we bring out this clock, and we're getting equipment. EMF stuff is going off by it. Things are reacting. And turns out the clock was stopped. It didn't work. It was stopped on a time. The time was the exact time he died. How crazy is that? Jane
what that was?
Knew nothing about it. No. Jane, we
didn't know about it.
We got to kind of watch the walkthrough after. Because we were going to use the objects again as part of our investigation. So we got to watch the walkthrough after we were doing our investigation. And she walked over to it, and she said, "There's something on this shelf." And there was a whole shelf full of stuff. She said, "Something on this shelf I'm being drawn to." And she said, "The clock. It's the clock. Grab the clock." Yeah. And grab the clock. Jane didn't know what it was about the clock. She didn't know anything about it. And when the person who lost her father said that clock stopped on the exact time he passed away. How crazy is that? That's where, like I said, you want to talk about, I don't believe me, I think 90% of mediums aren't real. Okay, maybe not 90. 80% I would say aren't real. But the ones that I've seen that have done things that I could never explain. And it ain't just pulling like something out like, "Oh, your grandfather's with you. Was he assertive? Was he a stern man?" No, it wasn't like general reading bull crap. The stuff I've seen was right in front of me, and it applied to things that there were no Google back then, no Ancestry.com. They just did it, So crazy. What was that about?
Question, Terry said, "My daughter moved out."
Who said this?
Terry. My daughter moved out, and my home has been quiet. However, my daughter, after about 2 months, has been having experiences again. Yet she has been told that nothing is following her. Because that may be possible. That it may not be that something followed her. It just might be that she's a beacon.
It could be either or, to be honest with you. It really could. I mean, it could be, like you said, she may have abilities and that they're drawn to her. Whatever's around her, wherever she is. Or, something may have, especially if you're not experiencing anything anymore. But like Chris said, she may have been drawing them in the first place.
She might be a beacon. There might be something about her that
it could be either or.
Yeah.
See, that's why, again, I know trusted mediums, and I would have conversations with them just to see what their impression was of what you just said. But Chris can be 100% right. She could be the conduit.
And it may not be that she's good, because growing up, things would there was something about me that you know, people talk about a house being haunted or the land being haunted, but sometimes there's something about the person that draws it in, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gifted or they have this ability, because I don't. But there was something about me that I didn't have a wall up that stopped them from coming. So it's almost like you're sending out a radar or a wave to these things out there that they find you. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't mean that they what you had here followed you. It just could be that something is finding you where you are because you're resonating something and like a house that's never had any experience, nothing's ever happened there, but one family moves in and things start happening, they move out, and for the next 20-30 years or a lifetime nothing ever happens again. There was something that triggered it, and maybe she's the trigger. And what I learned, and maybe someone can teach her, is that there's a way of putting up a wall that stops that whatever that goes out from you, that lets them know that they can come to you and do that.
And I think that's what she's saying, Alex. I think she's saying that some people are conduits.
Yes.
And they do
100%.
draw spirits to
I'm
them.
one of those people that happened to.
And in theory, some people know how to shut that off or protect themselves, and others are just an open channel that
unknowingly
attracts them wherever they go.
I think that's the mistake that a lot of people out in that world, when they have a paranormal experience, all of a sudden it's everybody's on the bandwagon of you're gifted, you can talk. No. Sometimes it's just an experience. Sometimes it's just there's something about you that is bringing that out for whatever reason. And I had to learn, and it took me a long time to do it, that I put up this wall. And this stuff terrifies me. So hopefully maybe she can be taught a way to block it.
And that's the thing too. If you talk to enough mediums, the credible ones, they'll all tell you that they at first they didn't know what to make of whatever was happening and what they were seeing or hearing or whatever, and that they had to learn to control it and compartmentalize, I guess, open it when they wanted to and close it at other times, so that they weren't always accessible to spirit, according to them. This is their words. And I think certain people, in theory, could have those abilities and not know it, and they're drawing and drawing and drawing, and yet they have no means of stopping and shutting it down. And I mean, even the guy that one of the people that we talked to recently, a couple of weeks ago, was basically saying, I could close my eyes and see spirits around me. And yet I said to them, do you ever go to anybody? Because that's where I if it were me, yeah, you better believe I'd find a medium, and I would say, look, I don't know what's going on with me, but if I'd find a trusted one, a reputable one, and say, read me, see if you can see if anybody's attached to me or any spirits connected to me. If not, if it's me, show me how to stop it. Show me how to protect myself. Show me how to turn that dial down as much as I can, so that I'm not feeling this. Like
Kathy,
you said, if I move
Kathy,
from
Patricia
place to
said
place.
a really a very true statement about not being gifted, but I was vulnerable. And sometimes when we are like stressed, overwhelmed by the weight of what's going on with us, you know, those illnesses and depression,
yeah, I mean,
sometimes that opens you up for something to come in and create, or like what happened with you at that event that we did at the Hoover. I mean, those things can happen when you are very, very vulnerable.
I myself am both gifted and vulnerable, Patricia. One of the few.
You're gifted. I'll give you that.
Just in case you were wondering, I have a T-shirt.
But even now, if I get really run down and really sick and really, really overwhelmed, there are little things, especially like the nightmares that lead. See, I found out I have a pattern. Like the nightmares will come back from trauma and stuff. And what it is it's a slow pushing of the door, trying to break down that barrier to open that back up. So that's stuff that I have to shut down immediately and reset my brain. And just, that's why I'm a very positive person. That's why I'm always like, I don't let anything try to hold me down. I always keep trying to overcome and to keep moving so that it doesn't happen, because I know what the consequences are.
Yeah, again, it's a speaking of we're going to interview another person who had a near-death experience, and this one describes it in a different way than I've ever heard it. So I have to reach back out to them and set up a date for the interview. But I'm fascinated by people and their experiences. I don't want to call them stories because stories is sort of insulting, saying that they may not have really happened. But I'm fascinated by, again, some of the experiences that people have had and the details involved in them, especially when it involves near death. Because I've seen common threads, but then this one has some, but there's also something else very strange about it that links back to what Grant Wilson told me about. He like I said, he describes heaven at first as being almost like the Matrix, not real, but it's real to you because it needs to be, because it's part of the transition. They're showing, just like everybody has different beliefs, different religions, different things that they were raised.
So what, representing what
it'll show you that version of heaven, the one that you want and you believe in first, to get you comfortable enough in your transition to reveal then what it really is. And that's what this woman, her message to me kind of felt that way, because it was something different than I'd ever heard before. And I said, okay, how far can we dive down this rabbit hole because of the way she described it? We didn't get into the circumstances surrounding how she died or how we'll get into all that stuff. But I was more than intrigued by her description of where she went. It was, I haven't heard anything like it. Most people say, a place like Steve, things aren't really, you can't really see things, and
you just know that
you're going through judgment, you're this and that. But she describes it in a different way, and it's fascinating because, again, what Grant said really resonated with me, in that who knows? You know what I mean? Like,
it'd be different. It'd be interesting to see it from another perspective like that.
That's like different. My version of heaven, if we're going to be honest, if I 100% believed in heaven, and I thought heaven was real, and my version of heaven when it happens, from everything that I was believed as a child or whatever, is you're going to go somewhere that is just beautiful colors. It's in 4K. We didn't know back then there was 4K. It's in vibrant colors everywhere. By the time you get there. That I think it's a combination of everything that you believe is beautiful. Like I like countryside and lake water. I like the ocean at kind of dusk, and I think heaven is going to look like that, sort of, or the whole of heaven. But I also think there'll be places where people live, and I do believe that when we cross, I think. And I wrote a book that's not really, it's a paranormal book, but not really a paranormal book. And I described what my version of heaven was in that book. I think everything is kind of cloudy at first, and then it all comes into focus, almost like, again, It's a Wonderful Life. You get your wings and he couldn't see it first, and then he sees. I think then that everybody, who we know is waiting for us initially. They're like the welcoming people. Like, there is my mother, my sister, and other members of my mom's mom, and my mom's mother and father. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think they're all there initially to just greet you and then take you through the rest of it. And I think it's just a beautiful place where, again, all the angst and the anger and the hurt and the pain and the dogs. Yeah, my dogs better be there, or I'm going wherever they are.
Your ferrets.
My ferrets, all my pets. But that's my version of heaven. And maybe that's what I'll see when I transition.
I'm hoping that it's just where my
That's
soul,
kind of what I'm talking about, Laura.
my soul reunites with like my daughter, my mother, my grandma.
Yeah, but does
people
it?
that was like, you know,
Well,
like there's it's not a scenery of seeing. It's just a
it's
knowing
just
and a
they're
feeling.
there.
Yeah, just that feeling that you're connected again, and that when you hug your loved one or when you're speaking, and that
That makes
feeling
sense.
that you feel.
Yeah, that
I'm
makes
hoping
sense.
that's
That makes
like,
sense.
you know,
That makes sense.
for me that's kind of like.
But again, we as humans, yeah, we as humans, you know, connect everything with the physical.
Not my thing.
With the physical world and the world that we live in and the world that we exist in. So for us, I have no idea what this is. That's a first. That's a first. Never got one of those before.
They're coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be something, Heather? But again, I defending your life. I mean, everybody says there's a life review. Everybody. And
so you like the idea that you're defending your life, like you're going up in your. What do you mean by the defending your life?
Well, I mean, it's part of the life review, and you know what's more severe. Like, again, there are people that have killed people. There's people that have raped, molested,
yeah,
carjacked, assaulted. You know, is their review like again?
See, this is
what's
where
the
I get
review
confused.
kind of like? It
Like,
is, I'm sure it's brutal
but
because who wants to relive their
yeah, but here's the
the
thing.
worst of their worst?
Here's the thing about something like that. It makes me think is that who I was when I was in my teens, in my 20s, in my 30s, and my 40s is not the same person who I am in my 50s. And I'm sure if I make it to my 60s, I'm not going to be the same person I was in my 50s.
Yeah, but it's still part of your life.
I get it, but we're evolving, and we know we would have made those different choices with what we know. I know the person I am today, I would have made so many different choices in the way that I treated, talked to, or how I handled a situation. So
I'm hoping when you get your 60s, you are that.
So
way.
then we go back through that whole, you know, the defending, or you go through like the punishment for your choices or deciding if you're good or bad. I think these things are already being done while you're living your life. I think I kind of think like,
I don't agree with that.
I think that there's a knowing, as strange as that comment may be, how you live your life and choices. Like most people say, you know what, screw it. I did something wrong and I'm just going to keep on this path and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I know what I do is hurting people and I don't care. So why would it take going to someone sitting there and talking to you and saying? No, I
don't agree with that at all. Because there are people in jail now for life sentences that kill people, multiple people in their 20s.
But this is what
that now are 50 years old going, yes, now I'm a 50-year-old man. I realize what I did because I lived my whole life in jail. I found God. I'm a totally different person. There are still 3 people missing from this earth that didn't.
I do believe in forgiveness and salvation. But I think there are people out there who regret what they've done, even if it's serious. And there are other. But I think that you don't think that God or whatever's up there that doesn't already see into your soul what you are made of. That what you truly are. No matter what you put out to the world. No, I'm not saying that. You don't think by the time you really think there needs to be a holding period or waiting period before something judges you, when your whole life and what's in your heart, what's in your soul, what has made you to be what you are, hasn't already been.
No, that's you're rationalizing that on a human level.
I am.
Not on a higher transitional spiritual level. Maybe when you get there, they don't want any junk left over.
See, having your life explained is different than having it judged.
But they don't want any junk left over, I think, from the physical life. They don't want any of it. That's what I would think. You carry that. It's still something you carry. I think part of the judging your life transitional, I think, is to resolve and clean all of that completely.
That's different.
And then we're all pure souls when we get.
And that's
wherever we go.
terrifying, Heather. That's really terrifying when you think about it. That's a tough one, isn't it?
I do believe there are souls here still because of that very thing. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I think there's some quote unquote hauntings that are just for that reason, that they are afraid. If there is a light, if there is some place that they go, they don't want to go there because they're afraid that there might be a down elevator.
Listen, I think that's what. But here's my theory on that stuff too, and I've actually talked extensively with.
Getting deep. That's right,
It
Alex.
is.
That's what we do. And you can't repeat what I say. How dare you?
When a person thinks that there's a possibility the choices I've made in life were mistakes and I might go to hell. To me, that there's an opening and awakening of the fact of and especially if you change your choices. I think that at some point there's some things that are unforgivable. I believe that wholeheartedly. But I think there's some things that we can. When we take our human emotional side and revenge and anger out of the
everyone. There are sociopaths out there that
I'm not talking about those.
You have to include
them.
To
me, those are a given. Why would we even have to skip? Those are a
You're
given.
asking why there would be a review. Well,
but they've done it. Yeah, we're on Earth School, exactly, done it. But no, I again,
but maybe your review would take 5 seconds. Maybe they would look at you and go, okay, we saw everything here. Yeah, you did this, that, and the other. But basically, you're pure in heart, pure in your soul. Next. Maybe that's part of it. I'm not saying everyone goes through like every minute of their single life. Maybe some are rubber stamped, but maybe others are in the realm of the gray of, yeah, you're a good person now, but you did a lot of shitty things in your life. What if we're looking at before this you're this good?
What if we're looking at it wrong?
We're not. I don't.
What if it's things that when we're going through that phase that we've passed and let's say we're in that whatever, being judged or gone through life review, whatever. What if it's not really about the wrong and the right, but whether or not you faced what you've done?
That's what the life review is, facing what you've done.
And acknowledging
you have to do that to, again, not according to me. This is a theory, again, Grant Wilson shared with me. And again, it's really deep and it's really out there, but I'm a big believer in, like Judge Judy said, if it don't make sense to me, then I don't apply it to my logic. If there is a meaning to whatever happens next, and judgment is part of that, or review. Let's not even call it judgment. Let's call it review. Then, yes, you have to look back and resolve not just the terrible things you've done, but maybe the relationships in your life that weighed on you or didn't go the way because something you did.
Immaturity, bad choices.
I mean, maybe that kind of stuff all needs to be cleaned off your plate for you to just go to the other side without any baggage whatsoever.
Donna said, I heard you feel this pain that you inflict on others emotionally, intentionally or unintentionally. Because sometimes it's a perspective on somebody else's side. You cause somebody harm emotionally that you had no idea. You were completely unaware of because it wasn't intentional. I mean, there's a lot of factors that I sit there and I just wonder.
But again, I know, down the rabbit hole. This is what tends to happen. And again, this is why these discussions are... This is why these discussions are good in a lot of ways, because I always say these are just my opinions and things I've heard and things that I apply to my way of thinking. Right, wrong, or different, it's just my beliefs. And same with all of you. I could be 100% wrong completely. Again, the lights could go out and that could be it for all I know. Or there could be no review. There could be, who knows? Nobody knows. But it's worth the discussion of what we take with us until the end of the human experience. No, that all the questions that are there before we we find out. It does open your mind, and that's what it should always open your mind, because all of this applies to the paranormal and what we do and how we approach researching and investigating the afterlife and interacting with those who were here before us, because it should be about communication, but it should be about seeking answers, and hopefully eventually when our time comes, feeling as comfortable as we can about whatever's going to happen next. I mean, that's what it is for me. I think we all want to be
embraced. I think we all want to be accepted. I think we all want to be able to lay our burdens and our sins.
No, I think we all don't want this to be it. I think that's what we all want.
Oh, yeah. That's the one thing I fear. I'm going to be honest with you.
Because let's all face it. If this is it, and I wasn't born a Rockefeller, and get to, then man.
But I think, see, I look at it different. To me, my life has been difficult in so many different levels. I've had a lot of challenges and a lot of heartache and a lot of trauma.
And then
but
but
I still feel I'm one of the most wealthy, blessed individuals. I have food on my table.
Come on, we're not doing a Hallmark commercial now.
I'm telling you my view, the way I feel as a human being. I have people that I adore and love. There's what we do that I totally love, and you and what's happened and all of these things that help me get through the bad.
But you had me at hello.
When you said you had me in a minute,
when you said you had me, I completely got it. I completely got it. So believe me, you're welcome. Enough said. You're welcome.
Maybe that's too much to say.
You're welcome.
But you no. But what I'm saying is that it's all in the perspective of if you're looking for the wealth, monetary, and possessions that you can't take with you when you go. The bottom line is that to me is not. You live with a savior. Well, Heather, I live with something, all right.
Something I'm referring to as an object. Wow.
But life is the perspective that you bring to it. Whatever circumstances or cards that you're dealt, it's not the cards you're dealt. It's how you play those cards and how you
country western songs.
I'm not, but is. We have choices.
Because you got to know when to hold them.
I'm gonna fold you in about a minute. But anyways, this is how I live my life. This is how I walk. This is how I am and I'm a very open book, and I say exactly how I feel. And as much as he jokes and whatever, I think that's important. Kenny Rogers over there.
Is there a dog in a pickup truck? Thank you, Patricia. They all know what I'm talking about.
There's a banjo too.
They all know what I'm talking about.
And a jug.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, we'll end on this note.
Yes.
First of all, we appreciate you sticking with us all this time. And yes, we did go down the rabbit hole. And we appreciate you just listening and participating as always. That's what these discussions are for. If nothing else, just to different opinions, different beliefs, different mindsets. But Parent Unity, New Jersey Parent Unity number 10 is coming in less than 2 months. November 2nd and 3rd in Woodbridge, New Jersey at Woodbridge High School. Project Fear, Ghost Hunters, Ghost Brothers, Kindred Spirits, Ronnie LeBlanc, Trina Weedman, Chris Williams. We're New Jersey guys. I can go down the whole Kalani, Madam. I can go down the Wraith Chaser guys. They're all going to be there along with lots of great readers, free exhibit rooms. We're adding, you guys have seen a little bit of the exhibit rooms, free lectures, lots of people that are into the paranormal as much as you are, as much as we are. Come down to Jersey. Have a great time. Donna Marion will be there on Saturday. Jay will be there Sunday in the Creeper Gallery room with the Haunted Objects with John Zaffis and Cody and Satori. You will have a great time and make plans to be there if you can, because you're going to love it.
We've
If you
got
haven't
some
been,
really interesting
you're gonna love it.
exhibit rooms.
And Chris DeCesare will be back joining us again because we do this annually with Chris DeCesare. For those of you who don't know, the Ghost Boy of Geneseo, am I saying that right? Probably not. Chris DeCesare was actually in a haunted dorm room. His dorm room was haunted in college. Look up that name, Chris DeCesare, if you don't
Right
know.
back at you, Chris.
Very interesting story. One of the few I've ever heard. I don't think I've never, ever, ever heard of since or before someone who had a haunting at their college. And read about his story. I know there's going to be on a network. I don't know if I can say which one, Chris, but they are going to be doing a little mini series about what happened to him. And
it's pretty interesting.
You will not believe, again, what he went through. I've never heard anything like it. And Chris is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet in your life. 100%.
Like you can't figure that out.
You can't figure out what the N and the X at the it means.
Well, then we can help you.
Not sex. No sex network, Chris. Is that what that is? Is that what you're referring to? It's not on the No Sex Network. No, it is on. It is on. It's going to be on Netflix. Maybe some sex. I know there's shower scenes in the DVD. That I do know. But no, Chris DeCesare, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. 100% for sure. Genuine article. Very interesting story. Look up his name. Google the books available. I know there's DVDs and now Netflix will be doing a special featuring him. And then don't forget that he knows us. I can't wait to see it either. I want to see the young Chris DeCesare actor with the baton running track. I wonder if Chris fit into the original track.
I thought you were going to say about the shower scene.
Chris, did they de-age you and you ran those track meets over again like they do with De Niro and stuff in those movies? Chris, because if they de-aged you and you did that, I am definitely going to watch the entire thing. Anyway, I know we're going all over the place, but Google Chris DeCesare. His name's right there. And you'll see the whole story is just crazy. He's in a dorm room, and then things just start happening.
No, all jokes aside, it's
and
crazy.
And nobody, he was afraid to tell people, and it got worse and worse and worse. And definitely something different than you've ever heard before. So go Google Chris DeCesare, buy the book, watch Netflix or No Sex Network. It could be either. But that's it, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight, Wednesday night. We are going to make plans because I want to stick to this. I want to do the live stream where we put a few of you guys in a building alone and we watch and we all get to enjoy you guys who aren't able to participate and us as well. And I got a feeling there'll be one segment in particular where there's somebody with a little squirt bottle of holy water going, call it a hunch, but I think we might see that. I think we all know who that is.
Oh, my goodness.
Rhymes with icky.
Anyways, have a good night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and please remember to be kind to each other.
Yes, we'll see you in a couple of days. I don't know from where. I don't know if we're going to do a creepy hour. We got to talk about that. It's a busy week. But have a good night, everyone. We'll see you soon. We covered enough.